Hey all, this is Michelle Raza with the Finding Yourself Book Club. Today we're going to finish chapter 3 of John Gottman's What Makes Love Last. The first chapter we talked about why cheaters cheat. The first section of chapter 3 we talked about why cheaters cheat. Second section we talked about negative comps. And now we're going to finalize the chapter, just going through how do you get from the thought of betrayal to actually betraying your partner. From potential to reality, the cheater's cascade. Now, before I get started, please do check out our website, www.findingyourselfsatx.com. We now understand what it is that primes couples for infidelity, a lack of sharing the true self combined with negative comps. But how does this germ of betrayal lead to behavior that breaks the partner's heart? Why not exercise self-control and act with decency? I believe it's far more fruitful to turn to science for an answer than to focus on human failings. To label perpetrators as evil does not help prevent infidelity nor encourage healing. From its onset, the march toward infidelity weakens the relationship's walls and windows, as described by the late psychologist Shirley Glass in her famous book, Not Just Friends. Typically, partners in a long-term committed relationship keep a window open between each other while erecting walls that protect their privacy from the outside world. This scenario doesn't mean that the two bond only with each other. They both have a life and experiences outside of the relationship: work, family, friends, pursuits. But they each carry within them the safety of this refuge, which is founded on their intimacy and trust in each other. However, once the germ of betrayal invades, toxins assault their refuge without anyone noticing. First comes secret keeping. The attack forces gear up when partners stop confiding in each other, which leads them to maintain secrets. The silence may descend when a spate of regrettable incidents weakens the couple's commitment. Partners are vulnerable in particular when there are significant life changes, such as a new baby or job, or an unforeseen trauma, such as a parent's death, illness, or a troubled child. Such circumstances can test even the strongest relationship, underlining differences in background, temperament, beliefs. At these times, when one partner reaches out and the other is missing, disappointment and loneliness will prevail if they don't discuss these regrettable incidents. The avoidance may not be obvious, especially if the couple have vocal fights about the issue, but they are arguing around it, leaving the hurt unaddressed and never repaired. Once there's a history of ignoring and dismissing each other's emotions and a subsequent decline in each partner's trust metric, the couple may seek to avoid conflict so that the situation doesn't worsen. They steer clear of volatile issues, shoving them under the rug until, as the poet Robert Creeley put it, the rug bunches. Then they give wide berth to the now bumpy rug. When couples avoid rocking the boat, they may even believe they are helping the relationship by having some of their needs met outside it. When a relationship is so fragile, it can seem counterproductive to confide something that may hurt the partner. What is James supposed to say to Marion when he first meets June? "Guess what, honey? I was at the Cup and Brood today and this amazing woman started talking to me. It felt great." Come on. To put all of that in context for Marion, he would have had to let her know that her new job has made him feel vulnerable and unmanly. No way is he going to confess all of that, maybe not even to himself. Conflict avoiders such as James equate negative emotions with dynamite. If he told Marion about his inner tumult, he would feel like a marital suicide bomber. So he just doesn't mention June or the complex emotions that meeting her has stirred. He ignores it and becomes more likely to just make negative comps. But by not confiding in Marion, James deprives her of the opportunity to show support and love. To use Glass's terminology, the lack of disclosure erects a wall between the partners that replaces the open window of trust. The result is emotional distance that makes the secret keeper feel lonely. It doesn't help people it doesn't help people like James that our culture so often blames infidelity on a simple lack of discipline or moral character in the face of sexual temptation. In fact, the research evidence suggests that the vast majority of affairs are not caused by lust. Fleeting sexual attractions are a part of human biology. Even the most attuned long-term relationship does not blind members to the allure of others. But if the relationship is satisfying both partners' emotional needs, they build a wide fence around these lustful thoughts. Inside a strong relationship, it isn't necessary for partners to divulge their brief attractions to others. But if your trust metric is low, you do need to talk about them, even if it seems that doing so would be destructive. To illustrate the difference, imagine a couple passes a beautiful woman on the street. The husband takes a quick look. His wife notices his wandering eye and asks, "Do you think she's prettier than me?" If the two have a powerful sexual and emotional connection, the man can say, "Nah, you're much more beautiful." Perhaps that even qualifies as a white lie. Even if the wife knows he's being untruthful, she'll recognize the love and respect behind the fib. On the other hand, if distrust has poisoned this couple's pleasure in each other, it would be destructive for the husband to avoid the issue by denying the attraction. I'm not suggesting a cruel response like, "Yes, she is much hotter than you." Not suggesting that will help the relationship, but it would be beneficial if he answered, "I do sometimes notice other women. I think it's because we haven't been talking or having sex much, and it's starting to get to me. I miss you. I miss us." I admit, that's tough to say, but it's worth it. You'll find advice on how to have this kind of difficult conversation in Chapter 9. So that was the secret keeping, the first step. Next, walls and windows reverse. The greatest danger to the architecture of what I call the sound relationship house occurs when unhappiness causes a partner like James to unburden his heart to the new person. He makes his new companion privy to his troubles at home. Now, instead of a wall surrounding the two partners, there's a new wall closing them off from each other, and a window has opened between the partner and his or her new friend. This reversal is what James experiences when he starts to confide in June about his life with Marion. But the trouble doesn't stop there. Like James, many perpetrators can't bear to lose this new person who offers solace and connection. They build a wall around the new relationship to keep it safe from the primary partner. The deceiver trashes the partner and the relationship. It is almost inevitable that once you form a coalition with someone other than your mate, your perspective on your long-term relationship changes. A switch is flicked. Negative sentiment override kicks in, and you respin the history of your relationship. You focus on your partner's negative qualities and minimize his or her positive traits. Now you see your protective partner as a control freak. His or her deep affection morphs into clinginess. Shyness transforms into snootiness. You used to cherish your partner and denigrate other relationships. Now you denigrate the relationship and trash your partner. Before, you imagined your future together, dreamed about shared goals, felt fortunate to have found the one. Now opposite thoughts cloud your mind. This turnaround is going to make you receptive to the sexual overtures of the potential lover. The betrayer considers the partner untrustworthy. When the walls and windows reverse, making the home unsound, the relationship suffers an ironic tragedy. The potential cheater begins to distrust the partner. You would think the opposite would be more likely to occur, but when I analyze the interactions of these partners in the unforgiving light of the laboratory, the results are clear. Keeping a secret creates distance. The more disconnected the future cheater feels, the less he or she believes in the mate. The partner is seen as less trustworthy, even though the cheater is responsible for the breach. In the love lab, when potential cheaters are asked to talk about their relationship, they will label their spouse as selfish. The innocent but unhappy partner is seen as only out for himself or herself. The duplicitous partner carries two contrary thoughts: I'm still married, and I'm falling in love with someone else. To resolve this cognitive dissonance, the disloyal partner often decides that the other is to blame for how vulnerable and alone he or she feels. It's not my fault. I haven't done anything wrong, and I was forced into this out of desperation. Finally, I'm going to skip a little bit. There's like half a page that I'm going to skip just for the sake of time. Finally, the line is crossed. The betrayer is now primed for a sexual relationship with a new companion. There are probably as many paths to that first physical betrayal as there are affairs. The process tends to be glacial. Over a long period, people give themselves permission to cross small boundaries, to talk about intimate subjects. I can't believe that someone as gorgeous as you can't get a date. Confide, look into the other person's eyes, touch briefly, then less briefly, peck a cheek goodbye, then a lingering kiss, fantasize about one another, feel like they are part of a couple, and so on. But even before the new intimacy turns sexual, the cheater's ability to love the primary partner has been crippled. A weakening of the couple's emotional intimacy left the relationship house unprotected. So that was chapter 3 of John Gottman's What Makes Love Last. This book is really amazing. I am probably going to skip chapter 4 just because it is good and I recommend picking up the book, but it's not necessarily conducive to what we're trying to talk about here. So good stuff here. Please check out our site, www.findingyourselfsatx.com. You can take our life balance questionnaire at our site. The first consult is always free. Penny is taking new clients, so we'd be happy to help you. And if I only interact with you through video, that's perfectly fine with me. Super happy to be here with you guys. Please do like and subscribe to our channel, and we'll be bringing you more content. I think I've talked about this, but I'm planning on going back to Lindsay Gibson after I finish this book. And then John Gottman, he's the master of relationships, right? So he has a bunch of books on romantic relationships, but then he has a really cool one on how to be an emotionally involved parent. So I'm kind of interested in that one because it aligns to what we've been talking about with Lindsay Gibson and emotional immaturity. So let's say you were listening to that and then you said, well, I'm emotionally immature. How do I cure myself? And so that John Gottman's book will teach you. It's a book to teach you emotional intelligence. It's not a workbook. I know I've talked about workbooks in the past. Somebody actually commented asking if I had one to recommend. I don't yet. If I find a good one, I will recommend it. I think you can probably go based on reviews. If you just search right now and look for a well-reviewed book, any workbook that teaches the fundamentals, I'll tell you John Gottman's The 7 Principles of Making Marriage Work. That one has a section that's just about it's called the stress reducing conversation. And ultimately a lot of couples have that conversation and end up more stressed out. So that chapter teaches emotional intelligence skills so that you can have that stress reducing conversation at the end of your day with your partner. So thanks for tuning in. Hope to see you next time. Please do subscribe and love your comments. I do read them. And if anything, send me an email. Maybe we can chat. All right. Take care. Have a nice night.